Good afternoon, and thank you to the Alliance for Regenerative Medicine for inviting me to talk to you today about Adaptimmune, an integrated cell therapy company spearheading the cancer revolution. I refer you to the disclaimers regarding forward-looking statements outlined here. Let me start with a short summary of where we are today as we work to bring the promise of cell therapy to people with cancer. In January and May this year, we reported responses in our MAGE-A4 targeting program in a broad range of solid tumours, including melanoma, head and neck, lung, gastroesophageal cancers. Based on this data, we will start a new phase 2 trial in gastroesophageal cancers early next year. We also reported compelling response and durability data with our lead treatment, ADP-A2M4, in synovial sarcoma, most recently at ASCO. Our Spearhead-1 trial, which we intend to use for registration, is enrolling rapidly, and subject to all the usual caveats, we're on track to be able to launch this product in 2022. We're investigating combination potential for our Spear T cells as well. Spearhead-2 is one such trial, combining ADP-A2M4 with pembrolizumab, the first time that a Spear T cell will be used in sequence with first-line systemic therapy. We're also combining ADP-A2M4 with low-dose radiation, a trial in which the first patient treated had a partial response. We also reported a complete response in liver cancer in our ADP-A2AFP program. These data were recently updated at the International Liver Congress. And finally, beyond our existing portfolio of 3 therapies in various trials in multiple solid tumor indications, we have built a fully integrated cell therapy company that will scale as we develop and launch new therapies. And we have a rich pipeline of other cell therapy candidates and an advanced allogeneic program. Let's look in more detail at our portfolio of Spear T cell therapies targeting MAGE-A4. This slide summarizes the responses with ADP-A2M4 and ADP-A2M4-CD8, both targeting MAGE-A4 using the same T cell receptor. On the first line, you'll see patients treated in the phase 1 ADP-A2M4 trial. And on the next line, those treated in the phase 1 SURPASS trial with our next generation Spear T cell, ADP-A2M4-CD8. This product adds the CD8 co-receptor to all cells, effectively conferring killer T cell functionality on all transduced cells. Across these indications, it's clear that we have a broad range of responses with Spear T cell monotherapy in late-stage cancer patients. We have a 50% response rate in synovial sarcoma, and these data are the basis for our phase 2 trial Spearhead-1, which we intend to use for registration and commercialization in 2022. We've seen encouraging responses in head and neck cancer, with 2 out of 4 patients dosed responding across both phase 1 and SURPASS trials. On the basis of these responses and translational evidence of upregulation of PD-L1 following Spear T cell administration in other patients, we have initiated Spearhead-2, a phase 2 combination trial with ADP-A2M4 and pembrolizumab in patients with head and neck cancer. We've seen 2 responses in esophagogastric junction cancer in our SURPASS trial, based on which we're planning to initiate a phase 2 trial with ADP-A2M4-CD8 in gastroesophageal cancers in the first half of next year. In May, we saw the first confirmed response in a lung cancer patient with our Spear T cells. This is one of only 2 patients treated with our first generation product targeting MAGE-A4. And we've seen anti-tumor activity in patients with bladder cancer. And we reported a melanoma response in our radiation sub-study that continues to enroll. We're incredibly encouraged by the early data from the SURPASS trial, with the first 3 out of 4 patients responding. It's worth noting that 2 of these responses were in patients treated in the first dose escalation cohort at 1 billion cells. Such responses in early cohorts are unprecedented across our portfolio. The SURPASS trial is now focused on enrolling patients with cancers in which we have seen responses or substantial other evidence of activity in our MAGE-A4 program, specifically lung, gastroesophageal, head and neck, and bladder cancer. On this slide, you can clearly see the benefits that our SPEAR T cells targeting MAGE-A4 can deliver to people with cancer. We are committed to continuing early stage signal detection trials and enhancing the therapy so as to rapidly identify additional indications that could be advanced to late stage development, in addition to our 3 ongoing or planned phase 2 trials. This next slide is a summary of the data from the phase 1 trial with ADP-A2M4 in patients with synovial sarcoma. In the waterfall plot on the left, you can see the best overall response data from 15 patients with synovial sarcoma who had baseline scans at the time of data cutoff. The 16th patient treated was assessed as an unconfirmed partial response after the data cutoff. This would result in an overall response rate of 50% for this indication if confirmed. In the spider plot on the right, the data clearly shows promising durability with median duration of response of approximately 28 weeks. And of note, 3 of the 7 responders have continued to benefit as at their 1-year assessment. These data are really encouraging, and we believe that we have the opportunity to change the lives of people with this terrible cancer. Based on these results, we're even more confident about the potential of our Spearhead-1 trial for registration. And we announced that we removed the futility analysis from the trial, decreasing the number of patients to be treated from 60 to 45. We've made great progress towards our ambition to commercialize ADP-A2M4 in the US in 2022 for people with synovial sarcoma. Screening and recruitment of Spearhead-1 at more than 20 sites in 5 countries is going well, and we aim to finish enrollment in the first half of next year. Following the RMAT and Orphan Drug Designation from the FDA, we also received Orphan Drug Designation from the EMA, as well as Prime Access. And overall, our interactions with regulatory agencies, investigators, and patients groups have been productive and supportive. Moving on to ADP-A2AFP in liver cancer. The data presented in August at the International Liver Congress is summarized here. This is a standard dose escalation phase 1 trial, and we've completed the first 3 cohorts and are currently enrolling in the expansion cohort. As for all of our phase 1 trials, safety is our first endpoint, and we're very encouraged by the safety we've seen to date. Reported adverse events have been consistent with what would have been expected in patients with advanced liver cancer receiving chemo and T-cell therapies. There have been no protocol-defined dose-limiting toxicities reported, and particularly important for this therapy, we've not seen significant hepatotoxicity attributable to our T-cells to date. We've treated 3 patients in cohort 3 and 1 in the expansion cohort as of the data cutoff. Of these 4 patients treated with doses of approximately 5 billion cells, 1 had a complete response, 1 had stable disease, and 2 progressed. The patient with a complete response also had a sustained reduction in serum AFP. This patient has now developed new lesions at week 32, with an overall duration of response of approximately 7 months. In cohorts 1 and 2 of this trial, we treated 5 patients. Although there were no responses according to RECIST criteria, we did see further evidence of anti-tumor activity at these lower doses, with all 5 patients having stable disease as the best overall response. These data indicate that our SPEAR T cells targeting AFP are active and able to engage with the tumor, and in some patients are able to generate meaningful anti-tumor activity, as shown in the patient who had a complete response. We're treating patients in the expansion cohort with doses of up to 10 billion cells, and we're also looking at the translational data to understand the characteristics and drivers of response. In general, patients have tolerated our treatments well with an acceptable safety profile. We continue to see the adverse events experienced in our trials as manageable and consistent with those typically experienced by cancer patients undergoing cytotoxic chemotherapy and cancer immunotherapy. Now I want to let you know what we're doing to improve our SPEAR T cell therapies, to develop other types of cell therapy, and to highlight our allogeneic platform. We've clearly shown that our SPEAR T cells can achieve responses in multiple solid tumors. With every patient, we're also learning about our T cells, as well as what influences their efficacy once they're infused into the patient. Our translational teams work to analyze the wealth of data we gather with each patient to better understand how the tumor defends itself and apply those learnings in development. One example of this is that we've seen clear upregulation of PD-L1 in a patient with synovial sarcoma who responded to ADP-A2M4, based on which we've started Spearhead-2 combination study with pembrolizumab. We're also constantly learning about how our SPEAR T cells can be improved in terms of potency and persistence. This is how we designed our next generation therapy, adding CD8 alpha to ADP-A2M4 to increase its potency, which has been investigated in SURPASS. We also review and improve the manufacturing parameters to deliver improved and engineered T cells. And of course, we've looked into lymphodepletion and into other serum indicators to design optimal treatment regimen, as well as future next-gen options, including with selected partners. These include Adaptimmune, where we've added IL-7 and CCL9 to improve trafficking, and Alpine, where we're developing secreted and transmembrane immunomodulatory proteins to increase potency. Looking at the mid to long-term future, we have one of the most advanced stem cell-derived allogeneic platforms. We've shown that we can produce T cells from stem cells that can kill cancer targets, and these can be targeted through either TCRs or through CAR T constructs. In parallel to our wholly owned allogeneic program, earlier this year we announced a co-development and co-commercialization agreement with Astellas, the first significant collaboration since the one with GSK. And as part of this agreement, the first collaboration program target on which the companies will work will be targeted via an allogeneic HLA-independent TCR or HIT therapy. This is a T cell receptor that targets a CAR target. As we get close to our product launch, we believe that we've built a robust, fully integrated cell therapy in a position to deliver for many people with cancer in multiple solid tumor indications. I think I can confidently say that there are not many cell therapy companies that can show such a strong pipeline in solid tumors. 3 products in clinical trials in 10 different solid tumor indications, 2 ongoing phase 2 trials with a 3rd expected to start in the first half of 2021, an allogeneic platform progressing both wholly owned and partnered candidates, and our new HLA-independent TCR platform. We've learned from what other cell therapy companies have faced as they've launched their first cell therapies in oncology. And we believe that being fully integrated is key to our success. Leveraging a leading research organization, which has delivered our existing portfolio of SPEAR T cell therapies and our iPSC-based off-the-shelf platform, we're designing next-gen options based on the translational data we gather from every patient we treat. We will also be able to expand into other cell therapy modalities, starting with our HLA-independent TCR platform. Building on our sarcoma expertise and commercial preparation, supported by a strong internal manufacturing and supply chain, we are well positioned to deliver products in further indications to people with cancer. In 2020, we've clearly demonstrated the potential of the SPEAR T cell platform. We've not only reported strong data in sarcoma, but we've also identified another developable signal in gastroesophageal cancers that we're progressing into late-stage development. As you can see, we will continue to present updates throughout the rest of 2020 and in 2021 at major medical congresses. With the Spearhead-1 trial progressing well, we remain committed to and confident in launching our first commercial product in 2022. I'm very excited for the future of Adaptimmune as we continue to develop this integrated cell therapy company to bring the promise of cell therapies to people with cancer. And I want to thank the physicians and the patients who are participating in our trials to make this promise a reality. Thank you very much.